Ukrainian car bombs killing Russian generals in Moscow, December 22, 2025.
Yeah.
That's the headline we woke up to. And the urgency here, it's palpable. We're talking about what looks like a total failure of Russia's internal security.
Right, in the capital.
Exactly. A strike deep inside Moscow, proving that the high command is anything but safe.
And this isn't a fluke, not a one-off event. This is clearly a sustained campaign.
Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex. Join me with Aurea in the latest deep dive by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we're going to cover, well, this news breaking this morning: the death of another senior Russian military leader.
We've been going through all the sources this morning, reports on the attack itself, the clear context from the last two assassinations, and, how this all fits into the backdrop of these so-called peace talks.
And our mission today is to really unpack what this means for you. Because this isn't just one general, this is the third. The third general officer assassinated in or around the capital in a single year.
It points to a deliberate campaign of what you could call institutional attrition.
It's aimed directly at the people running the war.
Car bomb, an IED placed under his vehicle, a white Kia Sorento. The Russian reports say the car had only moved several meters before it detonated.
So that suggests a spotter, right? Someone watching who pushed the button the second he started to move.
Either that or a very sophisticated motion-triggered fuse. The investigation is already being run as a murder and terrorism case.
Okay, so let's talk about why Sarvarov matters. Lieutenant General is a high rank, obviously. But what did he do that makes his death so significant?
His job was, you could argue, one of the most critical for Russia's ability to adapt in this war. He was the head of the Operational Training Directorate of the General Staff.
The training director.
Yeah.
So he's the guy trying to fix things.
He's the architect of institutional learning. His entire job was to take the lessons, the failures from Ukraine, and turn them into new training, new tactics, new doctrine for the entire military.
So he's not just moving pieces on a board. He's redesigning the whole game for them.
Precisely. And our sources say he had the experience for it. A veteran of the Chechen Wars, the campaign in Syria. Losing someone with that kind of institutional memory creates a knowledge gap you just can't fill with a simple promotion.
And of course, the Kremlin was immediately informed. The finger is already pointing straight at Ukrainian intelligence.
Which is hardly a surprise, because, as we said, this isn't the beginning of the story. It's the third act.
This is what's so wild, the pattern. Sarvarov is the third general hit in or near Moscow in 12 months. This isn't a security lapse anymore. It's a gaping hole.
It's a systemic failure.
Okay, let's trace it back, because this is where it gets really interesting. Case one was almost exactly a year ago. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov.
Right, Kirillov. He was the chief of their radiation chemical
They claimed it, didn't they?
They did. They called him a war criminal for allegedly using chemical agents. The Russians arrested an Uzbek national who they claim was live streaming the scene to handlers in Ukraine.
Unbelievable. So that set the playbook. Use proxies, hit them in residential areas. this deep inside Russia.
It looks less like a blunder and more like an institutional disease. They just can't protect their top people where they live.
And that failure has real immediate consequences on the actual battlefield.
It does. Let's go back to Sarvarov. His training directorate was specifically trying to solve Russia's biggest problems on the front line.
This is that institutional attrition you mentioned. It's not just killing a man, it's killing the organization's brain. What was he working on specifically?
He was instrumental in developing counters to Ukraine's wall of drones. That was a huge priority. And he was pushing these new infiltration tactics, using tiny agile units to get around Ukraine's static defenses near places like Pokrovsk.
So by taking him out, you disrupt all of that work. You slow down the entire process of them getting better. The new training manuals for 2026, they're now delayed, or worse, based on outdated ideas.
Exactly. It creates a massive knowledge gap. His replacement won't just step in, they'll have to rebuild everything, all while the war is raging.
The historical context here is it's shocking. As of today, Russia has confirmed 13 generals killed in this war.
13. That's more than they lost in the entire Second Chechen War.
Why is that number so high?
Well, Western intelligence points to a few things. Poor morale forcing senior commanders to the front lines, for one, and critically terrible communications security. The failure of their secure-era phone system is legendary at this point.
So generals are up at the front, using insecure radios, making themselves easy targets.
Right, so you have a tactical failure on the front line, killing generals there, and a counterintelligence failure at home, killing them in Moscow.
It's a security crisis from top to bottom. Okay, so what about retaliation? This was a strike in the capital. The pressure must be immense for the Kremlin to respond.
Oh, it is. The calls for a heavy response were immediate. A member of the Duma's Defense Committee is already calling for the destruction of the perpetrators, calling them terrorists.
And we've heard warnings about this before. A former U.S. official said Putin's retaliation would be strong and unpleasant. It feels like we're in a dangerous cycle of escalation.
We are, and then you have the timing, which is just the paradox of it all is incredible.
You mean the peace talks?
Exactly. While a car is exploding on Yasenevaya Street, you have U.S. and Russian envoys sitting down in Florida.
Saying Russia holds the fully seized strategic initiative.
Right, so you have this confident narrative from the Kremlin, peace talks in Miami, and then reality hits with a car bomb in Moscow.
The talks in Miami it basically says, you are not safe, not even in your capital, so any peace deal will not be on your terms.
Absolutely. It shows that while diplomats talk, the war is being decided by force, and that Ukraine's reach extends deep into Russia's most secure areas. It's psychological warfare just as much as it is physical attrition.
It forces the entire Russian elite to look over their shoulder constantly,
which diverts huge amounts of energy and resources away from the war and toward just staying alive.
The consistent success of this campaign, it just has to mean that Ukrainian intelligence has achieved a very sophisticated level of penetration inside Russia's security apparatus.
It seems unavoidable. So the question for the Kremlin isn't just who replaces General Sarvarov. The real question is who's next on the list. And has this campaign of institutional decapitation already crippled their ability to evolve for the fighting in 2026?
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.